I want to take some time here to talk about the most recent addition to my collection down here, and that would be this beautiful Virtual Boy. If you don't know much about the Virtual Boy, then you probably know more than I do, because I bought this pretty much sight unseen, blind, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. The good news is, I bought this mostly with trade-in credit, so it didn't cost me all that much, about $100 when it was all said and done. All I knew about this console was what to look for to make sure it wasn't broken. That is, a clean screen, no aftermarket eye protector on it, and no ribbon cable problems. Luckily, the people who worked on this told me they fixed the ribbon cable, so whatever that means, it's good to go. Anyways, let's go over there, sit down, look at this piece here, and talk about how it works. I certainly didn't know how this worked, and it took an embarrassing amount of time for me to figure out how to get power to this thing. Let's go check it out. So for those of you who don't know, the Virtual Boy was a short-lived console in the US. I want to say somewhere in the mid-90s. It was discontinued rather quickly. It wasn't very good, mainly because the colors in it are black and red only. It gave people headaches, you couldn't play it for very long, and if you boot up a game, it even tells you, take breaks. In fact, it pretty much makes you take breaks. So this is one of those failed Nintendo projects that has become more collectible over the years, and games have gotten harder to find and are way more expensive than they used to be. There's also some Virtual Boys that are just flat out unsavable and have to become console versions. So there's all kinds of options out there for them right now because there is an enthusiast and hobbyist market for this. So what you end up having is homebrew games and all kinds of other accessories for it now that didn't exist years ago. Anyways, let's look at how this thing actually works because I was very confused. The cartridge slot is actually located right here. You can see it pops right in here, slides in, pushes in until it makes contact. Very simple concept. Kind of hidden though, not the easiest to see, and definitely hidden when you have the console more tilted forward. So the controller actually plugs in the very bottom of it, which is fine, but it also is kind of hidden. There's an extension port. I'm not sure what that's for. I'm sure someone can tell me, but controller goes in there, and then headphones go over here, and your volume control is over here. Now the question you're probably asking yourself is, how does this thing get power? Now as far as I know, this uses a standard issue Super Nintendo AC adapter. Nothing crazy here. This is an aftermarket one, obviously. This is from old school. This is probably the nicest old school adapter I've seen. It's very heavy. But I spent a very long time, an embarrassing amount of time, trying to figure out how to get power to this thing, because I forgot what the guy at the store had told me. Eventually, after about 15 minutes of trying to find which hole here this goes into, I remembered a little bit at the store that the guy had power come out the controller. So look at this pack here on the back of the controller. First off, it comes off all the way for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's a battery pack for it. I don't know. But down here, you kind of just push it open, and sure enough, there's your port that takes this AC adapter. We'll plug it in right there, make sure the wire is run in the little valley here, close it up, and now we're good to go. When we power this on, it will actually get power. That took me way too long to figure out, and if this video saves someone from looking like an idiot, I'll be happy. So we have power to our Virtual Boy, we have our controller hooked up, we're all ready to go for the most part. It's extremely difficult to capture any kind of gameplay footage on this because you have to be looking in the screen directly. So instead I'll just discuss a little bit more about my experiences, especially with software for it, mainly these games here. So the way you actually play this is by putting your eyes into it like this, and you can adjust the tilt of this whole headset here with this adjuster knob, trying to make it comfortable for yourself. I don't know what the best position is to play, if there's an ideal position, but this is kind of why it wasn't popular. It required very specific conditions. When you do start playing this, it'll tell you every once in a while, take a break, take a break. That's how much damage it could do to your eyes. Did anyone actually have eye damage or any kind of problems? I don't know, but I don't want to be the first to find out after all these years. One of the big issues you'll find with the Virtual Boy is finding software at a reasonable price for the system itself. These games right here are quite expensive, but not quite, and I'll explain why in a second. Easy to find games like Mario Tennis or other pack-in games are not very expensive, but there's only a few of those. And in general, there's only, I think, 14 games released for this at all. So some of them are going to be far more common and cheap, while others will run you an arm and a leg. Now this right here is an authentic Virtual Boy cartridge. It has all the Nintendo stamps on and everything. It's perfectly 100% real. There's nothing weird about it. These three here, Wario Land, V Tetris, and Jack Brothers, are what I'd call a authentic reproduction. Now, as we go into these cartridges, I'll talk a little bit about them. I got these from a company called Vintex64. This is not an endorsement. They're not paying me. They don't know I exist. But I ordered them online, and their website even says, I know we look like a scam, but we're not a scam. And for some reason, I thought, sure, let's just take a chance. I took a chance because they make these games. They sell them for about $50 each, and some of these can go in the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, especially Jack Brothers. So I thought if I want to have these experiences and bring these experiences to the kids at school, I need to make sure I can do something within my price range to afford it. So let's pop one of these open and actually look at it. I'm saying authentic reproduction because they pretty much look like a Nintendo Virtual Boy cart, There's not a whole lot of difference there. But what makes it interesting is that they do use actual Virtual Boy parts. I got my Nintendo Game bit here. I'm going to just pop this open. Oh, wrong one. That's the Genesis Game Boy bit. I got my Nintendo Game bit. There we are. I'm just going to open this up real quick so you can see it. And, be careful opening these things up if you don't know what you're doing. You can mess them up pretty bad. So I'm going to pop this open, I think, right? And then I'm going to reveal this board here. So what we have here is, according to their website at least, and I don't know enough about electronics to, I guess, make heads or tails of it, but what they've done, as far as I know, is taken their own custom-made boards for the Virtual Boy, and they've taken chips off of Virtual Boy games and then reprogrammed them to be whatever the game is on the front cover. So it is authentic-ish. There are authentic parts in here, but they are serving a different purpose now. The weird thing about Vintex 64 is that they only build once a month, so you'll place an order and then it'll go silent for a while. And they always say the sooner you place your order, the better it is, because their build cycles are once a month, so you might, place your order the day before build cycle and get it done sooner. These took a little over a month to come in from the time I ordered them to the time I got them. And I can tell you, they work. They seem pretty legit as a website and a company. So if you're looking for games cheap, that's probably as close of an endorsement as I can give you without being in contact with them and knowing more about them. But these actually work, and they're not bad quality. And I even confirmed with a technician that, yep, that's kind of what they're doing. It looks like they're taking authentic chips from the Virtual Boy games and they're reusing them in these custom-made cartridges. This is why I'm not a technician, by the way. It's 2 screws, it's keyed, and I still messed up putting it back together. How do you even do that? All right, so we have to hold those down, do this. Nope, that's not magnetic, is it? Come on. Okay. Someone out there is crying right now in repair land. I hope no one's watching this like that. Just tug that back down. You don't want to strip these. That'd be bad. Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. Don't tell them what I'm like. Marcelo just cries every time he sees me work on something. I don't blame him. I forgot to mention how you actually turn it on. Power goes in the controller, and then this switches on, and that turns the console on. So don't sit there and look for about an hour like I did for an on-off switch under here somewhere, or this thing on the side. It's over here. Everything's on the controller. It's a very strange setup. That was my crash course learning about the Virtual Boy. It's something I never really thought I'd get. I really didn't want one that badly. But when I saw that I had the store credit to afford one, I decided it'd be really cool. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to give these students a chance to play some obscure gaming history. What you see in front of me is probably all I'll ever buy for the system, and that's okay. It's more of a cool party trick than it is a long-term fun-to-play console. I hope this video helps someone out there to figure out their Virtual Boy, or was just a cool look at an old piece of forgotten gaming history.